And guard the 6'6" transfer from Franklinton, North Carolina, number 4, Dre Bullock.
What is up, you guys? So, UH began the 2025 Outrigger Rainbow Classic with a dominating win, as you can see the final score here, 88-56 over Mississippi Valley State. And this was a very, very convincing win, if I must say so. Now, first of all, before I get to the action of the game, I want to point out two things. The first one, I was going to do this on Thursday, but unfortunately I got a little lazy and I ended up not doing this until now. But the second thing, the most important one, I want to issue a correction I may have made in my last video. I may have called the Mississippi Valley State the Spartans. They're actually known as the Delta Devils. So I want to issue that correction and kind of clean that up. I know I didn't look at their site, and that's completely on me, but still, hey, everyone makes mistakes. I'm not immune to them, just like I did, but I own up to it, but that's okay. But still, for UH to come out with this dominating performance, that gets an A grade from me for sure. Now I'm going to get into the action, but first off, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I will try and get a couple up this week. But in the meantime, let's get into this. UH dominates MVSU. 2 career night performances made. Complete 40-minute effort. That was a complete effort for sure, because UH did not subject themselves to a deficit like they did at Oregon. And for them to come out and put a complete whooping on MVSU, a team that UH has been perfect against, and this has been no different. But this performance, as opposed to the last time they came here, which was 2022, is a big statement. But a couple seasons back, UH was going through their Jekyll and Hyde games after losing Juan Munoz to another season-ending injury then. And UH was kind of playing kind of erratic to a point where they ended up losing the lead, but outscored MVSU 26-6 after that. But this time, they put an exclamation point on that team in the first half. They closed the first half on a 28-5 run when it was pretty close. But the guy who really came through was Hunter Erickson, who's pretty much become the point guard of this team with Tanner Cuff out with the season-ending injury, supposedly. And I say supposedly in boldface because you never know if he's going to be out for the entire year, although odds are, since it is a knee, Cuff is likely out for the entire season. But nothing's confirmed. Again, I want to make that perfectly clear. Nothing is completely confirmed that Cuff is out for the season. Like I said, I would give this game an A grade for sure. But Harry Rouhliadeff also came into his own. He led the Bows with 22 points and 5 rebounds. But Aaron Hunkin-Claytor also deserves a giant shout out, because although he had only 2 points, he had a whopping 11 assists for the University of Hawaii. And how many total assists? 19. That was an excellent performance from Aaron Hunkin-Claytor. That's the most that anyone had done since Drew Buggs in 2020. So Aaron is proving to be a valuable addition to this team, especially at the point guard position. I look for him to maybe be the team captain either next season or the 26-27 season. But we'll see what happens. Or 27-28 season, rather. But obviously, Aaron is still developing. I still think he's starting to get to where he really should be, because obviously he did come into the season fighting a preseason injury. Don't know what it was, nor should I even say it. But even if I did know. But still, Aaron is coming into his own. Harry's coming into his own. Hunter Erickson's coming into his own. And so did Yacine Toumi.
Just move. Just move. Oh, yeah! Way to go, Yacine!
Yacine Toumi had 11 points that night. He didn't have any rebounds, but he came through and went 3 for 3 in the second half from the field, and they were all in the paint. And I got to say that looking at Yacine Toumi, I kind of see a little Bernardo da Silva in him, because da Silva was not really on the athletic side, but he was always a guy that you can count on in the paint. And maybe a mix of Bernardo da Silva and Tanner Christensen from last season. So hopefully that Toumi will do well when conference play comes around, because I can imagine that some of these teams are going to get really physical, and I sure hope that UH will find a way somehow to be able to keep their lead and keep their composure, especially when it comes down to crunch time. So obviously, I would give that game an A grade. They held their lead scorer, Michael James, to only 6. And for UH to do that, this is the kind of stuff we were really lucky to see last year. But now it looks like that University of Hawaii is starting to come into a team that's got a ton of backbone in them, and they can also prove to be a threat for the top spot in the Big West. Now, are they going to make it to the NCAA tournament? I sure hope so, but I still think that they got to make it to the Big West tourney first, because that's what they did not do last year. Now, there were some things that didn't happen that I kind of wish did, but unfortunately, it is what it is, and as a result, a lot of guys entered the portal. So with an all-new lineup pretty much, and only 3 guys returning, this is a squad that looks like is reborn for sure. And to see Rouhliadeff go for 22 points and Aaron Hunkin-Claytor go for 11 assists, that's enough proof in my mind that this team has got that snap or that little fun side that they were lacking last year, because last year they were just passing the ball around the three-point range and ultimately not getting a shot off. Or if they did, it was always a shot that they didn't want. But obviously last year was a rebuilding year, and now it looks like we've got the horses that we need, especially with moving to the Mountain West next season. Now, obviously, recruitment is going to be helpful because they're in a conference that takes more than one team to the NCAA tournament. But the unfortunate part is that no matter how good your season turns out, no college is immune to the transfer portal, and nobody knows that better than UH. Because when UH was on top back in 2016, despite the fact that they had a memorable year winning the Big West and going on to the NCAA tourney and winning a game, they still ended up losing quite a few guys to the portal or turning pro in Europe. And obviously some guys did exhaust their eligibility, like Roderick Bobbitt and Quincy Smith. But still, this is a team that's going to be special, folks. So if I were you, I'd either tune in or go and get tickets for sure. I know I've got my season tickets, and I've got full faith in this team that they will turn some heads, at least when conference play comes around. Are they going to win it? I really hope so. But as long as they just make it to the tourney, I'll be happy. If they win it, that's even better. And that's where I'll leave it for sure. So I will do a recap of Manhattan and Utah Tech after the weekend is over. So hopefully you guys will stay tuned for that. In the meantime, guys, thanks for watching. And remember, subscribe. I'll see you all next time against Utah Tech, which is tonight. And they did win over Manhattan. I will do a recap of that later on. Like I said, I will do 2 recaps in one video after this weekend, because obviously I've got a jam-packed weekend for sure, not just UH men's basketball. So thanks, guys. Subscribe. Go both. See y'all later.